Welcome to the Christie Taylor Show. I'm your host, Christie Taylor. Super excited to be here today. And as we are moving into the fall and autumn, one thing that always pairs well is family time. You know, across the country, a lot of students are maybe enjoying fall break. And these are really great times to get together with family as the holidays are upon us. But one thing I want to make sure that we also pause to do is make sure we check in with our children. For many of them who have returned to school to different grades, and maybe they're experiencing some things that they haven't told you about. So, in your downtime and in your holiday season, be sure to check in with your children. And one special person that we have today as our guest will give you some tips on how to do just that. We're talking about Tara Lynn Townes, who is CEO of TBB Enterprises. She is an impassioned speaker, author, motivator, inventor, and developmental therapist. With a master's in family and human development from Arizona State University, she has over 20 years of seasoned experience working with women, children, and families as a whole. With a BS in child development and many years of professional life coaching and consulting and counseling, Tara, she is passionate about being a positive of example of love and acceptance to all mankind. And I want you to help me welcome to the show. And I want to make sure I'm saying it, Tara Lynn Townes.
Yes.
Oh, yes, yes.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you here, and I'm grateful for the amazing publicists who are campaigning and crusading across this country with amazing clients like you, giving us an opportunity to tap into subjects that sometimes we don't have a chance to touch on. Now, I know that what we're going to be talking about, which is your Be Brave campaign, or I say crusade,
That is a crusade.
is linked to both your professional and your personal life. So let's take it to that path. Like, you know, what do you do professionally? I know developmental therapist sounds a mouthful, but can you give us a little idea of what that is?
Yes, a developmental therapist is one who works with children and adolescents who have developmental delays. I also am in the midst of my PhD as a clinical psychologist. I'm studying clinical psychology. So, with the ultimate goal to be a clinical psychologist for youth and families. So, I help kiddos who have delays in speech in the five areas of development: cognition, speech, um, motor skills, anything in that genre. And I help them speak again, walk properly, and do things that their little brains are not doing on the target that they're supposed to be hitting.
Mm. Wow. So I do know that your professional life and your career choice really comes in handy with your own personal experience. Did one influence the other, or how did that happen?
Well, actually, yes and no. I mean, my son was born with dwarfism, so society deems him as having a special need or disabled, if you will, which we use neither of those words. We use the terminology beautifully diverse because everyone is different and everyone is beautiful. So that's what we're trying, me personally, I'm trying to change the shape of that word. But anyway, they kind of came hand in hand. I didn't expect them to be, you know, the way that they came about, but that's what we do when we're introduced to our purpose. We accept it and receive it. So my son did introduce me to my purpose, and my career path has definitely helped me in this journey that we're going to get into.
Which I'm very excited about. Now, for those who may not understand dwarfism, can you kind of give us an idea of what that is? And was it something that was a part of your family history, or was this something that was just, like you said, introduced you to your life's purpose?
Yeah, so dwarfism is called achondroplasia, and we don't use we don't use it. I wouldn't know how to spell it or say it if my son didn't have it. But anyway, that's what it's called, the scientific terminology, and it's a recessive gene that stumps the growth in babies. And so, no, he is the first beautiful um, new generation, if you will, of little people in our family.
Wow. Now let me get this straight. Now you are living on the western portion of the country. Were you born and raised out west? Give us some background on who you were as a child and just your upbringing that led you on this path of child development and in being a therapist.
Yes. So I am from Bayonne, New Jersey, Jersey girl.
Okay, okay,
Yes, I'm from Bayonne, New Jersey. So, but anyway, I moved to the West Coast when I was a teenager. So half of my life has been spent here and half is there. And I grew up in a beautiful home, a beautifully diverse home. My parents were interracial. I'm interracial, I'm saying due to my parents.
okay.
And we grew up in a very loving home with a very big family. I have like 52 first cousins, like literally, they're not my play cousins. And so I learned very early how to care for children. We helped out at 7 and 8. We helped with bottles and diapers and all of those fun things. And I just love children. It's just in my nature. I'm just a kid chick.
I love that about you. I love that. And
Thank you.
as far as choosing a profession that speaks to, because like developmental, I remember oftentimes when you're in college and you take those psychology classes or child psychology or interpersonal communication, and they just talk about the human evolution.
Right.
Give us an insight on what your day to day occupation entails, and then we can see how it colors what your crusade and your passion is at this time.
So I'm also an independent contractor. Like I said, I'm a therapist, like clinical psychologist as well. So I am a clinician, and I do contract with different organizations in the state. And I do work with a genre of multifaceted genre of human beings. My master's is in family and human development. So
Wow.
I'm very, very excited about that. And it doesn't just entail 0 to 3. It's just my forte is
Mhm.
in that area, but I do have adult clients as well. And then I'm also a certified life coach and parent coach.
Yeah.
So I have, a beautiful rainbow of clients, which I love. So little ones, older ones, middle age, whatever. We have fun with Miss Tara.
I love that. I love that.
But
Now,
so that's my day to day is just, different people, different situations. I deal with anxiety, depression,
mhm,
suicidal adolescents, which we'll get into a little bit more,
mhm.
because it's attached to the mission. And then ABA therapies and children on the spectrum and SPD, which is sensory processing disorder. All of those things. I do DAISY-2 scoring, which that helps me as a scoring system. In the psychology world that helps me determine where the delay lies and how we can fix it.
Wow. Something, I know some people who really enjoy that type of work, and I can tell that you're very passionate about it indeed. Now, getting into your calling, can we talk about what sparked it?
Yes, yes, because my calling was to work with teen moms, right? That's what I thought. I am a believer in whatever God has for you, He's definitely going to introduce you to it, and it's up to you to accept. So my son was being bullied to the point of no return. Life of the party turned into, regressed. Just regression in general, not wanting to eat, not wanting to play, not wanting to talk, and it wasn't like him. He's a chatterbox, and just like I said, just a ball of energy. And so I'm in my master's at the time, which it was right on time. And we were, actually going through like how an adolescent, certain signs that they may be depressed or so it's quite funny how the universe, God
Yeah.
works. But he was bullied to the point of no return. And what, the part that really took it over the edge for me was when my son came home with missing skin, and we're living in Irvine. And, it's a very, Urban, I don't even have to say anymore. And
Yeah.
I just thought you pay all of this money to live there. They should have better, whatever. But I learned a lot on this journey, and the school is amazing. They let us speak. And my son tapped on my shoulder and he said, "Mom, it's okay. You don't have to talk to them." I said, "Oh, okay." He was like, "I want to talk to them. They're my friends." He was only 7 years old when he did his first speech. His last speech, he spoke in front of 980 students in South Dakota. So
Wow.
he just jumped into it, but he also introduced me to my calling.
Now, for the sake of this conversation, I understand that you said that he's you say one of the beautiful short little people.
Little people.
What exactly was your son? being bullied for and by whom? What were the circumstances that were surrounding that?
So Corey was being bullied about being little, number one. He also was being bullied by the children holding things above his head to purposely frustrate him. He was They were stepping on the back of his shoes so that he can fall. When they line up to go outside and play, they would
Right.
hold the ball. Just a level of frustration. And psychologically, it may not seem like, oh, we just want to attach an emotional support system to when it's physical bullying. But
Right.
emotional bullying and social bullying, which we'll get into once again, those are devastating to children when children take away their friends on in the school grounds, and you have no one else. You're isolated because they're saying, "Hey, don't sit over there. He's yucky." They called my son names such as animal, monster. What is that?
Mm.
Ugly. These are 7-year-olds doing this at the time, and they mortified him at a birthday party. And that's when I totally said, okay, God, I thought I was going to be doing something else, but I think I'm going to jump into this. And this is when I
Mhm.
started a nonprofit, Tiny But Mighty, and I also wrote a book that he helped me with, Tiny Be Mighty. So yeah, that's how we got into this calling here.
I like the fact that you're underscoring that he was extremely um, forthtelling in his experiences and taking the lead on how he even wanted to address the school and his students, his classmates. Um, he has, like you said, tiny but mighty.
Yeah.
Not by power, not by might, but by God's spirit.
Yes.
And I truly know, as a woman of faith, that you understand that.
Oh yeah.
Now, here it is, with you being a parent and your son is communicating that to you. How do you personally navigate that? Because yes, you are a professional in the space and you understand that, but from a mother's perspective or someone who's not trained in your profession, how did you first, from a mother's place, respond? And what are some of the things you would just advise a parent to do when their child, for any reason, is experiencing bullying?
Yes. Okay. So I love to be transparent and down to earth. And so obviously, when he came home with all of these issues and he kept making up stories, which I have a new book coming out, Are You Raising a Bully? And it's the Bible to understanding everything that you're asking now. But I break it down for parents, facilitators, teachers, policy and procedure makers. Please get the book. It'll be in stores in 3 weeks. Are You Raising a Bully? But at first, I was upset and I was angry. And of course, Mama Bear wanted to come out and protect my baby. That's the first human impulse that any parent that truly cares and loves their child is going to do that. But I
Mhm.
know that I was raised differently as well. My father actually had a round table and we had to talk things out and hash it out. We weren't allowed to stuff in our house, and it's awesome not to stuff. But
Mhm.
when the first, scenarios began to pop up, and he said, I'm hungry. And I'm like, I gave you lunch money and I sent you. But I bought a friend. He kept making up excuses. Or I
Mhm.
have a tummy ache. That's the number one. 160,000 children per day miss school in our country. And their number one excuse is I have a stomach ache. And that's because they're being bullied. So please watch out for that too, parents. I like to give, little tidbits as I'm talking. But yeah, I was very upset. And, the first impulse was to go over there and just be upset and get my feelings out, not anything physical. And the principal understood. That school is amazing. The principal understood, and she
Mhm.
said, "We support you because we don't tolerate that. And
Mhm.
whatever we have to do, let's do it."
Mhm. So, with you, the mama bear, wanting to initially, just
Yeah.
you release the thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and thankfully, the administration was understanding. But then, of course, as you say, your son taking the lead, and then you also answering this now divine calling. Um, but it still would lead to the work that you were doing with young people, because now you're having to address possibly some of the underlying reasons that children bully. Now, let me also interject here. For those who sometimes feel like, oh, I grew up and people used to pick on me and all that, Can you put in context for those who are adults now and who oftentimes dismiss their children's feelings, the impact that bullying have on children today, that escalates to alarming circumstances?
Yes, I'm going to say this to anyone who says that. A portion of what I do behind the scenes is I work with families who have lost children between the ages of 7 and 17. So you never want to sit in someone's home or go to a bedroom where someone, I'm a little edgy, hung themselves, because this message is powerful and I can't sugarcoat it. I see this too much. I'm in these homes and I'm by the parent's side through the entire ordeal. And so what I will say is please let that notion go, because that was umpteen years ago when you were a child, where there were two parent households and we kind of the village raised the child. There's a lot of things have changed in society, and children who aren't being addressed and not validated, they're taking this into their own hands, and that's why we're losing them. And not only losing them to their life, we have people who attempt heinous ways. I had a young lady who jumped from the stairwell in a hospital. She was on the suicide watch and crushed every bone in her body because someone said that she was overweight, ugly, and she should just go kill herself. So listen, you guys, if you have that notion, let it go. If your children are coming to you, please don't rub it off, and please don't say the things like boys will be boys, girls will be girls, and they like you. That's why they're messing with you. I hear the children. I do workshops all over the nation with children, parents, teachers. I'm a consultant. I'm a certified anti-bullying consultant through San Diego State University. And I'm speaking for them. Miss Tara, when we say something, they don't listen to us. They say that we're just complaining, or, oh, brush it off, or you'll be okay. Miss Tara, I don't want to go to school. It's scary to go to school. I just rather not even be here than go to school, because they're holding my head down in a trash can. They're, taking pictures of me in the restroom. These are real stories, you guys. Please listen. Lose that mentality, because it really doesn't apply to 2022 and going forward. We've lost 100 children in the last 9 months nationwide in the United States in this age group. So we can't have that mentality. Yeah.
Wow. I'm really glad that you're underscoring that. And those who are watching or even listening to this, be sure that you listen to the children that are in your home, that are in your family. If you're in churches, or if you are yourself a teacher, be attentive and understand that what we went through as children has been magnified by thousands and thousands percent. Now let's get to, with that, some of the things that you, to assist your son and now on your mission as well. One thing was you created an app. Going to the 21st century, you went app. Let's talk about the app. Let's talk about the curriculum and all the great things that you're doing to address anti-bullying.
Well, one thing I did was, and I just want to give this quick tip to parents, teachers, not only listen to them, please validate them. Because what I'm hearing from them and what I know psychologically is that we all want our information validated. And just because kids are kids, believe me, they're watching. They're modeling us as well, but they're really watching how we receive their information. So if we're busy on a computer, on our cell phone, and they're telling us that someone pulled their hair, but we think we're listening because we're still trying to work or do things, that's not validating them. So you can't say, yeah, I am listening. I heard her. She said, you're not validating. It's validation, the big V. I just want to get that out there.
Thank you for that.
Oh, yes, you're welcome. Because it's the biggest thing that's going to, change this entire culture of bullying. So as far as what I did with Corey is just help him, guided him. Not Corey is Corey. He is a force to reckon with. And I like to say that God put him in a little body, because if he was in a big body and had that big personality, I don't know, he would have been too much. It would have been too much for the world. But I just really always opened him up, was a tool, should I say, where he can be a soundboard for him to get it out, hashing it out. So whether we did art when he was little, just look for things, strange art things in black, things in, things that look like monsters, or in the younger children. These are indications of fear. Okay. So you want to see that, you want to look for those things. when they're doing art, when they're playing. Listen to their self-talk always. When you're not around, stand by the door. Listen to how they interact with little characters and what they say.
Mhm.
These are all things how you can really get inside their mind without saying, are you being bullied? Who's doing it? You're going to lose that whole conversation approaching it like
Mhm.
that, especially with teenagers. You cannot get in the car and say, how was your day? It was good. That's what you're going to get from a teenager. You can't do it like that. You got to be like them. You have to say words like them. Yesterday, I said the word bet. I never say that. He always says bet, so I say bet. You got to be cool with them. He was like, what? And I'm like, yes, okay, bet. We're going to go to the store, bet. But anyway, I like to have fun, if you can't tell, even when I'm giving information. But now, what really pushed me into that, obviously, was meeting these wonderful families and parents along the way who've lost these children. Unfortunately, we met that way. They're now my family members for years. And we have an app for everything, but where was the app to save lives? Why are we losing this group of children, and why don't people know about it? I've met with senators, governors, state reps in multiple states, and they're like, I didn't even know this was happening on my watch to this magnitude. And
Wow.
then we get streets named after them. That's not helping a parent. That's not
Mhm.
helping what's going on. A street is not
Mhm.
going to appease me. It's
Mhm.
nice. I'm going to
Mhm.
look at it and have a reminder every day in my town that my son is not here or my daughter's not here. We need to do more than that. So the app, it reports and it records in real time, and it alerts you simultaneously. So when the child is using the app, is interactive with the parent. I'm big on that. And they press the EBB button. Once the EBB button is pressed, that's the emergency bullying button. It records and you get to know what's going on with your baby. It tracks them for up to 10 minutes. You get to know where your child is. So no longer can the school say, we didn't know it was in the bathroom. We didn't know it was in the hallway. You're going to know now with this app
Yeah.
because you get it too. The bus driver can no longer say, I didn't see them beating her to a pulp in the back of the bus. It was just a group of kids around. You can't say that anymore because you'll
Mhm.
get an alert as you're driving. You'll get an alert and it will allow you to see and hear what's going on in the back of the bus. So it's in the last stages of patent status. It's one of a kind. There are some other apps out there that are close, but
Mhm.
it doesn't do everything because not only do we record and we report and we alert, we have
Mhm.
education station inside of there. So you can
Okay.
have Miss Tara come to your school, or I
Yeah.
do phone consultations and train the teachers on signs and what to do, how to redirect, and how to have a peaceful, healthy school culture and climate. I mean, kids are afraid to go to school in the United States on this level that they're taking their lives. We can listen, we have the tool to do it. So the
Mhm.
app works in that way. I have an adult version as well. So I'll come back on your show, Miss,
Yes, you will.
and talk about that. But we coupled it with, I'm very big. My area is behavior, obviously, and human development and everything about a human psyche.
Mhm.
And so what I learned is you can save someone in a moment in time, but how do you recondition this person, individual on both ends to not be involved in it again? So we're now talking
Mhm.
about behavioral redirection, which is
Mhm.
long-term saving someone. We can
Okay.
save them all day long, but we want to recondition it and totally get rid of this behavior, or definitely decrease it enough to where children are not feeling like they want to harm themselves. Another thing too, there's a
Mhm.
place here for teachers because teachers get bullied. I had a teacher who had his ribs broken because a kid in middle school bumped his head into his ribs, and he was told if he wanted his job, he could be the adult in the situation. There's so much behind this. It's in the book too, the Are You Raising a Bully book.
I'm glad you said that because I did some substitute teaching earlier this year. A friend of mine was like, "Hey, while you were in this, entrepreneurial space, the schools, particularly after the pandemic,
Yeah.
were encouraging people from other professions to come and help out. Let's just use that word." But once you're inside the walls of the school and you begin to see whether I was adamantly told, "Do not go to junior high school." I was adamantly told that. I was adamantly told they will come for you because they will know, because I'm not a mother. I don't have a lot of, experience in that space. And needless to say, when I went to the high school, that I also noted that their younger children, because I guess you can say the upperclassmen were communicating that the younger children who had apparently come from middle school out of the
Mhm.
pandemic into high school, in essence, had not been properly socialized for high school.
Right.
So, I'm glad that you said that because apparently it's an epidemic across the country that children in that age bracket are being challenged. I guess, is it emotionally or mentally? I mean, what are some of the contributing issues that you feel like, not just for those who are being bullied, but those who are in this aggressive headspace?
Yes. So the bully, definitely some insight on he or she. We don't just want to say him. He is a child who is either modeling the behavior or has experienced some in
Mhm.
some way, shape, or form some sort of abuse. And this could even
Understood.
be sibling rivalry. I have a whole
Okay.
chapter in the book that breaks down sibling rivalry versus bullying. But the sibling rivalry is a big part of it when we have high schoolers, and then we have, oh, you're just a little kid, and we have the brother who constantly will push the child's hair back or taunt them and tease them, and it gets frustrating and absolutely annoying. And when a human being, there's levels to where we get to behavior, and the first one is always frustration, and after
Mhm.
frustration comes anger, because the frustration is not being addressed. And then after anger
Mhm.
begins to go into
Mhm.
bitter
Okay.
and different things. And now you start doing that behavior to other people.
As you're talking about this, and even like you said, the adult version, because we are definitely in a period of time in human relationships where boundaries are no longer acknowledged or accepted or respected, um, and that any type of difference that happens in the world or in a person's community is augmented.
Yes.
So I know as we get to the wrap up, I want you to make sure that you tell people how that they can learn more about what you're doing in the Be Brave curriculum that you're developing, and how that, whether it's a parent or a school or a faith community or individual that works with children, how can they partner with you to help you with this Be Brave mission that you're on?
Thank you. So, well, you can reach out to me through the internet, and so we have our thebullyingbuddy.com, and on there you can click on my bio. You can click on contact us, and you'll be definitely addressed quickly if you want me to come out to the school, or even once again consult. The Be Brave curriculum, excuse me, is available online as well on our website. It's an empathy-based SEL curriculum, so it's for
Okay.
social emotional learning. So the schools will love it, and you can buy the curriculum. We can once again come out and train in the curriculum, and then we're all over social media. Bullying Buddy, like I said, thebullyingbuddy.com, tinybemighty.org. That's the nonprofit. You can go there. You can donate there if you really want to help what we do with the families. And I'm available. So you guys just reach out to me on social media. I have a wonderful team. They will get back immediately, and we can jump right in there and help you guys.
Wow. I'm really excited about meeting you. And
Thank
there
you.
are ways that I definitely want to do a part two and a part three and a part four, like a series, as we go throughout this, because with the launch of the app, the forthcoming book, make sure you go to her website to stay in connection with her, or whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the forms, go to the website and link up with her. If you have listen to this show and your heart has been touched, that means that you are now supposed to help other people be brave. And sometimes the biggest bravery is learning how to love people even when they're not being their best.
Yes.
So for that, I'm grateful for this conversation today, and thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for sharing your work with us and your life and your story with us.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, and be blessed, everyone, and have an amazing, amazing day.